and welcome to another episode of Digging a Little Deeper into English with Kirsten, where we will investigate what successful language learners have done in order to transform their communication and make that career change they were looking for. And today the episode is a little bit different to the ones that we have had before. So there's been quite a break since my last interview, and that's because I have been overhauling so much of my programs just to try and simplify everything and really get to the core issue that people have been having. And so while I've done that, I also realized that I've made 4 episodes and I haven't yet introduced who I am and what I do. So this episode will just be me talking a little bit about English language acquisition and use in the workplace. So let me start with a little bit of an introduction about me. So my name is Kirsten. I am Australian, as you can hear from the funny accent. And I was really fortunate to have the opportunity of working in a number of companies in Australia that were really helpful and supportive. So I graduated from university as a geologist. I started working as a geologist in the coal industry, but I didn't find that very rewarding. I struggled with it actually. It was very remote. I was quite young, quite green, and so I decided to actually do a little bit more work in extraction of minerals rather than just geology. And so that's what I did. I managed to join BHP Billiton at that time and joined a pilot plant for a new process in nickel and cobalt, and that was super awesome. I loved every minute of that. I did eventually end up working as laboratory coordinator, a fancy title to avoid manager, as you will see, a recurring theme in my career, in the research development lab, and returned to university to get more extraction skills, knowledge, I guess. So I did that. I ended up working as a development chemist, and then I moved into operations and became a process engineer. I did leave nickel and cobalt after, about 11 years, and I went into uranium. So I had an awesome opportunity to work at Ranger Uranium Mine in Australia's north, in a stunning location, and I loved every minute of that as well. I had before then been doing quite a bit of work as internationally. So I'd been traveling to Indonesia, Philippines, just in my role of trying to help the nickel and cobalt process in Australia by forming better relationships with our suppliers, Indonesia and Filipino particularly. And so I spent lots of time out there doing some training and getting a better understanding, using my geology again, getting a better understanding of what opportunities were out there. And this I loved. This was the highlight of my career at that point. Now, I loved working in uranium, but I missed that international travel component. And then I had the opportunity to move to Malaysia as an expat and work in rare earths, a fascinating field in an area I loved, so I jumped at that. And a big part of all of my work internationally was training, and not technical training so much. It was actually around communication, and I loved this. To see people learn grow, develop skills, communicate better, understand more clearly what the business objectives were, get really engaged in the projects. It was just so rewarding. To be honest, it was much more rewarding than being an operational engineer and just watching every day for the small incremental changes. That's good, but it didn't inspire me. Didn't inspire me anywhere near as much as watching people's careers change. And so that's what led me here. Ultimately, I left working in the industry as an engineer altogether nearly a year and a half ago now, and started to do this full time. And I had to do quite a bit of retraining. I'd been a technical trainer and an informal communication trainer for more than 10 years. But I did return and get more language acquisition training. And I learned so much through that. And I've become quite passionate about helping people to realize what it is that they actually need to do in order to improve using their English. It may not be what you think it is. It's not the same for everyone. I'm sorry, there's no magic recipe to follow. Everyone is different. But I do see some common themes. I do see people thinking that their English isn't good enough, that they have to go and do another language course and get some more vocabulary or get some more grammar. But this is not where the transformation in English actually comes from. I see the transformation in English come when people start to use the language in a meaningful way. So you may not have all the perfect words and your grammar may not be perfect, but that probably doesn't matter as much as you think it does in your communication. What does matter is confidence, understanding communication differences between cultures, being able to effectively share what your ideas are, and not being frightened to speak up at the right moment, mistakes and all. I'm a native English speaker, and you will hear me make mistakes time and time again. We all do it. So that has become my passion, my goal, is to get people to start using their English. Your English can always benefit from another language course, of course. But to do that in another classroom setting, to do that more general English, even business English, it doesn't really get to the meaningful use of English. It's about using English in the way you need to use it at work. It's called English for specific purposes. But what it is giving you the skills to be able to disagree with someone on a technical point, clearly, politely, get a collaborative communication process happening rather than offending people, sounding like you don't really know what idea you're trying to talk about. It's about being confident in giving people instructions. How do you communicate what the team goal is so that everyone's on the same page? This is much more than just more vocabulary, more grammar. And a really big part of working in a global industry, as mining is also being able to understand native speakers when we speak. We speak quite quickly sometimes. We get a bit excited in this industry about what we're talking about. And that can make it really challenging with accents and slang from different cultures. Australian comes to mind. So that's actually what I think people need to work on more than acquiring more words, acquiring more skills. And you will find that when you start to use English, you will start to learn more words and you will start to learn more grammar because you're actually now using. So Learning in a classroom is probably 10% of what you need to know, and the rest comes from using. It's not easy to get the opportunity to practice the actual use until you're in the job, and then it matters. Or you're in the job interview, and by then it's a little bit late to try and practice. You want to be effective already. And so that's what I've been working so hard on trying to build. I've seen a real problem in the industry where there is lots of technical courses on FMEA, failure mode evaluation analysis. There's lots of courses on hazard identification, on the latest technical training, statistical analysis, but I don't see any communication courses for non-native English speakers. And just recently, one of my program participants said to me this week that after returning from a conference, he realized that all of the senior managers and all of the CEOs had excellent English, and that he realized that this is actually what makes the difference. And I've seen it firsthand. Absolutely, it makes the difference. It's transformational. So, if you think you need another language course, another vocabulary course, maybe you do, but it's time to start thinking about using the language. And I would love to hear your thoughts. You are always welcome to send me messages, and I'm always refining my ideas, trying new things. So I really think as a community, we're going to get the best results. So all the feedback you can give me is greatly appreciated. Now, I promise you, I have more interviews from the people who have done these transformations in the pipeline, in process, or starting the process in planning. So they will be coming shortly, but I just wanted to take the time to try and shift mindsets a little bit about how do we actually improve our English effectively. And then you can listen to how other people have found that journey coming up. And I do hope you come on that journey with us all. Well, that's it for our interview today. To download a transcript of the audio, click the link below. You'll find it in the show notes. Don't forget, if you want to be notified when the next great interview with successful non-native English professionals in the mining industry is released, click subscribe on your preferred podcast platform. And if you are ready to take control of your English, transform your communication skills, and see that pay back in your career, then shoot me an email at ksdsmith@gmail.com or visit me on LinkedIn. The links are again below in the show notes. Until the next episode, take care and keep on digging.